Here we go. Welcome to this webinar to talk about the European Voluntary Services, the European Solidarity Corps now, because it has changed the name recently. So you can find online some documentation about these two different wordings, but still it's the same programs. I'm very happy to have around the table here Fab Lab Cuenca, represented by Delia, Carlos from Bueno in Portugal, Delia in Spain, and Lucia, which is a French maker that has experience in EVS in Fab Lab Belfast in Northern Ireland, and now is established in Denmark in Kolding. And we will get to know each other in a few minutes. Let me share my screen with you, and let's start with this program that we truly believe it can help better bridge the Fab Lab and the Makerspace networks in Europe. And how much you should take over this program and use it in your different activities at your space. So let's start very simple about 5-6 Fab Labs, long story short, hold this European accreditations, because we are not talking about one grants, but accreditations in Europe. So 5, I would say, to 6 in a couple of months will basically be accredited to run such a programs on an every year basis. And VULCA also has a network hold one of this label. I will come back a bit later about these labels, but understand that these Fab Labs are already in these programs. Some general info about these EU programs. It's fully financed by the European Commissions. It's accessible for youth between 18 to 30 years old, and it's for mobility experience between 2 weeks to 12 months. So volunteers, as is it called in the programs, that we can call for us young makers, contribute on a day-to-day work of an organization. It can be any associations, and for us, obviously, would be in a Fab Labs. In different type of areas that Erasmus is very well known, such as education, environment, digital inclusion, social works, and so on. So make sure to understand that we're not talking about getting funds to get someone that's going to have a job in our Makerspace. It's not an entrepreneur. It's more like a solidarity experience between an organization and a youth that still doesn't have much experience in life. For a period of 2 weeks to 12 months. Just one numbers, we're talking about billion of euro between 21 to 2027, and it's 1,000 of opportunity for young people to go to live an experience in a different organization in Europe. So how does it work in real life? To make it short and very simple, you can either apply to be a host organization, or you can apply to be a sending organization, or to be a lead organization. So for all of that, you need to get a label, an accreditation. So it's not a project grant, as you can see here, but it's an accreditation that allows you to run into this program for a period. So we are right now in a period of 2021 to 2027. And it means that when we apply then for 2028, for instance, and we are accredited, we can run into this program without so much paperwork, I would say, for 7 years again. So just an overview of the different Fab Labs and Makerspace we have identified in Europe, running right now or ongoing in this program in a couple of months they're going to start. Bueno, Madrid Rural Labs, so Bueno in Portugal, Madrid Rural Labs in Spain, Fab Lab Cuenca in Spain, Crea Lab in France, Mountain Makers in France, ZAM in Germany, and VULCA, a network located in France, but a European umbrella. As you can see, each of them has access to different level of this quality label and accreditations. So some of them are lead and some of them are only host, for instance, and I will explain you a bit more later, or you will understand a bit more later what means each of them. So long story short, this is what can basically happen in a situations. So how does it work between partners? We have, for instance, in France, the Crea Lab community. We can imagine that Crea Lab located in Grollet. It's a city of a couple of thousand inhabitants and a community of about 100 of members. Some of them can basically ask to the Fab Labs, some of these members can ask to the Fab Labs to go abroad, living an experience in another makerspace. And Crealab will basically provide one makers to go to Fab Lab Cuenca, for instance. It could be basically team 25 years old that could go for 12 months with some in Fab Lab Cuenca. Or for instance, a young guy, which is Joe, 18 years old, that will go for a 6 month, fully funded by the European Solidarity Corps in Germany at ZAM, and so on and so on. So I guess you understand what we are going to talk about. For that, I want to thank again the 3 different speakers that are joining this video conference to share their experience. Carlos is probably the most experienced in this program, which is on my middle screen from Buino. Delia is from Fab Lab Cuenca, recently joining the program, so she will also share her first step experience into the programs. And by chance traveling in Europe, I had the chance to meet Lucia, which is a French maker that's been to Fab Lab Belfast for a few months and then moved to Denmark. Delia, would you like maybe in 1 minute introduce yourself and give a very short overview of what is Fab Lab Cuenca, please?
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending. This is Delia from Fab Lab Cuenca. We are a community Fab Lab. We run social programs since 2015. It's like 11 years of trajectory now. And this year is going to be the first year. In September, we are going to welcome our 2 first voluntary inside the Voluntary Corps European program. We are really excited about it, and we already made our selection. So also I take the time, Alex, to invite all of you to come to Cuenca in November, as we are going to have the VULCA seminar and meet the lab and the community of makers that we have here.
Super. Thank you very much, Delia. Carlos, would you mind to introduce yourself shortly, please?
Sure, I'm Carlos, I'm 45, I have 2 small kids. I'm located in rural Portugal in the south, and Buino is a creative ecosystem. So we have Fab Labs, we have Makerspaces, we have artist residencies, and we have a strong branch of education in different municipalities. And we have been working with the European Solidarity Corps since the first was in 2019. Okay, so before still the accreditations, to help us in something very important, that is social inclusion. So we are also a non-profit organization, and for us it's super important that we don't just focus on the business part.
Super. Thank you very much, Carlos, for this short introduction. So, Lucia, would you mind to say some words about yourself?
Yeah. So hi, everyone. You can hear me now? It's good?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'm Lucia. I'm 29 years old, and I live in Kolding in Denmark. I work in a small makerspace in the city, and I'm educated in product design, specialized in play design. And back in 2018, I did a EVS back in time. Now it's ESC. Yeah. In the Fab Lab in Belfast for 1 year. And I'm really happy to share this experience with you today.
Super. Thank you very much. We are super well on time. So I have a list of questions for each of these attendees. And the first one comes to you, Carlos. As a lead organization, you carry the grant and the legal responsibility. What does that concretely look like week to week, and what surprised you the most the first time around?
So in terms of administrative and legal responsibility, you don't really feel the burden week after week. You don't. The daily life is mostly focusing on supporting the volunteers. As Alex said, it's not just about they being available to help you out. They are also there to learn. So it's kind of like managing people as a staff member, but with different roles, with different responsibilities. You do have administrative responsibilities, yes. And yes, you do have some legal responsibilities, namely regarding the the quality label, the quality you are supposed, for example, to provide to the volunteers. Um, the thing that surprised me the most in the beginning was how complicated and weird the system in the youth portal and the connection to the beneficiary model is. That
Yeah.
is not very straightforward. So it's kind of that was a first encounter with the program, and it was not pleasant. It was kind of like, what the hell is going on here? What does it mean? How can I get into this? And I know from other colleagues, other Fab Labs, that this was not only me. You know, that
Yeah.
first moment is usually confusing.
Super. Super. Thank you very much. Second question comes to you as well. How do you split the management cost between your partners organization, and how did you agree on that split? Because hosting a volunteers means you need to find a sending organization. So there is a cooperation between organizations. So how do you manage this cost?
Well, that's a very good question because, like, for us was also we were not clear about what was happening. As Luisa said, before European Solidarity Corps, you had EVS, European Voluntary Service. There's a lot of organizations that specialize as sending organization. And so we were not very clear about what was the expectation. So if there is someone supporting and sending the volunteers, what do they want in return? When you look at the instructions and the money, the grant that you receive, there is just a value that is for organizational support. But this is vague. It doesn't say that is 50% is for the sending organization. You, as the lead, you use it as you want. But you need partners. And you need partners, first of all, in terms of contract, because for the contract with the volunteers, you need a sending organization, period. You need to put this in the platform, okay? And even better is when the sending organization actually has an active support role, so to help out in the selection, in the preparation, and also in the follow-up. This is very important because, you know, it's normal. You are kind of lost in the beginning, so you need an active sending organization. Regarding the question, we started talking with other organizations that were sending, and I started to understand that they make the price. So 30 euros per participant per month. Some asked 25, some asked 40. And so we started kind of saying, okay, 30 euros. And then even when we talked with other organizations, we said, this is what we are paying to the other sending organizations. I don't think it's a lot or less. It's not me to judge. What I expect is that some degree of intervention from the sending organization. And if I see them doing some kind of support, it's well worth it, even if they ask me for more. But it's not, you know, there is not this kind of rule in the program guidelines that specifies this. No.
Super. Thank you very much. So, there's one. If a Fab Lab told you, we'd love to be lead, but we are scared of the admin part, what would you say to them?
Relax. There is, like everything in our life, a learning curve. So in the beginning, it's normal. You are seeing this for the first time. That's why VULCA exists. You know, in our time, it was more complicated. We didn't have VULCA. So it was a bit scary because you don't want to mess up, you know, you don't want to have, after 6 months, an audit and someone asking you, what the hell did you do? You know, the information is kind of diffuse. But nowadays, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult because in the first moments, you can ask for the support of VULCA, you can ask for the support of people like us, Buinho, that can help you out, you know, that can guide you. Also, a very simple advice, talk with your national agency. If something gets wrong, talk with them. It's always important that they know what's happening, okay? They will be much more comprehensive and helpful if they feel that they are being pushed inside the situation from the beginning, okay? Don't try to hide. It's always about option. And after that first encounter of like the bureaucracy and so on, you'll find out that it's not scary at all. It's not, because you see, like the advantage of the accreditation is that it stabilizes the procedures. Every year is going to be the same thing. So in practical terms, what I do is I have a checklist map with all the documents that are needed from the preparation until the end. of the volunteers period. And so I have also templates, and I just feel because it's always every year is the same thing. So I don't need to be like creating new things all the time. I just go and change the names, adapt the contracts, prepare the receipts, and just have everything then in a shared folder. If there is any situation, I have physical documents and I have digital documents there. It's not a lot of documents.
Super. Thank you very much for the European scope. VULCA is there to help you, obviously. And at some national level, like in Germany or in France, you have the Verbund offener Werkstätten, the network of the German Makerspace, or French Fab Labs networks in France, which is there to help you as well. And the advice with the national agency is worth it, of course, contact them. Last question for you, Carlos. You've been involved in both K1, Erasmus+, so which is some mobility grants, and the European Solidarity Corps project. From an admin perspective, what's actually very different from your point of view, and in terms of project visions, how do the two programs complement each other's rather than competing?
Well, I don't know if you have a lot of short of time, but I try not to rush because I think it's important for people to understand certain things. Regarding this, they complement. They are different approaches. They are different sectors. We have accreditation also in the school sector. We have accreditation in the youth sector, and we are thinking on asking accreditation for the adult education sector. All of them are different. All of them are different. Some are more bureaucratic than others. For example, we lead a consortium of schools in the school sector, accreditation also. The amount of bureaucracy, it's bigger. I'm not going to lie. Everything that has to do with non-formal education, like the European Solidarity Corps or the youth sector, you have less degree of formality also in terms of bureaucracy. And they can complement depending on the strategy for your organization. In our case, it makes all the sense. As I told you, we focus on education. So in terms of focus on education, we rely on the Erasmus KA1 for reaching out to certain sectors. But we are also a non-profit, and we have a social meaning and purpose. And the European Solidarity Corps, they help us not to neglect that dimension. So most of the times, all of these things interact because we work with local schools, even if it's in a tier one approach. It's also about including them and some dynamics and their students and their communities. And then this is where the European Solidarity Corps, they come. My advice is very simple. Try to, first of all, understand what are the different sectors, what are the different natures, and then according to your reality and your vision for the future, try to understand how these things can be complementing and make sense for you. There's a lot of solutions. We just need to understand what is out there and what we want from them.
Super. Very short, in a nutshell. Perfect. Delia, first question for you. Walk us throughout your selection process when you receive a volunteer application. What are you actually looking for with volunteers, I would say makers maybe, on your side for the next 10 months, because you are currently finishing your open call and interview period?
Yeah, we just finished last Friday, and today the two volunteers we choose were already sent the email of invitation. And as Carlos said before, we are looking for people that is really willing to learn and help in these 10 months with us. For us, it's always good to have certain knowledge or kind of experience, at least to know what a Fab Lab is or what is digital fabrication, but it's not the most important thing. I mean, for us, the motivation, the passion to have this experience during 9-10 months is mainly the first thing we evaluate, because there is I think we have like nearly 600 applicants. That was like quite overwhelming, and we have to start to check all the different aspects. For example, for us, the people that apply that needs a visa requirement is like an extra work. We are all the time, we were kind of quite in touch with our national agency, which is quite good because they were telling us the countries that were eligible. There is some countries that are not eligible, even if you like a lot the participant. So mainly, to make it short, we really check a lot how the person motivation and willingness to learn and adapt in our ecosystem is.
Okay. Thank you for the first one. Second one, Delia. Practically speaking, how do you find partners organization, like sending one, or how do you find the volunteer themselves? Is there any platform, or do you use like social media or maybe groups or whatever? What are your tips and tricks to identify the right person?
Well, we use a bit of everything. In fact, of course, I was talking to you, Alex, since the beginning with VULCA and with Carlos. Thank you very much. I give you my thank you here in a public matter, because for the beginning, for this first experience, as Carlos said, it's a bit confusing. The platform was not working very well for us. The national agency was super nice all the time. Every time I was telling them, like, there is no way to enter there. It was something wrong with the platform, but finally we achieved to submit our open call. So participants start to apply from them in VULCA, in all the groups, in the newsletter. It was published as well, social networks like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So maybe we did too much promotion that drive us to the 600 something applicants. One of the very important things after talking with you, Alex, that we did after, I don't know, we had like 200 or 300 applicants. We create this form in Google Docs to see or determine really the participants that were reading our description to determine if they are really interested to at least put a few time to fill in the form. And to be honest, as so many candidates were applying, we only consider the ones that reply to that form. So we started our selection process from there. And then we were doing the interviews only to the ones that we consider that was a good fit for our organization. And now we already have the two chosen ones. Super. So that was
super. Thank you very much. Being precise and short. As every time, we are still on time, so everything is fine. Third questions. What does a typical week will looks like for a volunteer at Fab Lab Cuenca in 2026, 2027? How will their time be structured in your Fab Labs? Do you have an idea already?
Yes, of course. In fact, we already kind of structured this. In fact, maybe this is something useful for you. We were supposed to start this process last year, but we were not ready for different things that were happening in our lab and in our personal lives with the team. So we kind of postponed. We were talking with the national agency, and you can, once you get the grant, you can postpone up to 20 or 24, Carlos, tell me if I'm wrong, 24 months the program. So we delay the starting point to this September. So we normally go with the scholar year. So our structure or the day-a-day of the volunteer will be for them in base to learn and help us with the task. We normally divide our ecosystem by programs, so the idea will be according to their preferences and their strong points as well, will be to accompany and be part of all our programs. If we go out with the mobile Fab Lab, the volunteers are expected to be there, being part of our team. Then one day a week, they will have the personal project development. We would like, this is something we have to organize with them, but we would like if they can develop a program that can somehow contribute to the lab as well or to our community. So this is something we also check with the volunteers once we are doing all the interviews, because some people maybe has crazy ideas, which is very good, but maybe for us it's better if they align their personal project within one of our programs. So the idea will be follow up all the activities we do within the year and really welcome them and be part of the FabLab Cuenca ecosystem.
Super. Thank you very much. Last question for you. A bit similar than the one from with Carlos with the KA1, but you've done some KA2 in the past. So this is a Erasmus Plus cooperation for those that maybe don't know project. And now you are into the European Solidarity Corps. So how do you see a difference from an administrative perspective? You know, is it very different? Much more works, less works? How is it different for you?
I don't know if telling you more or less, because I didn't finish like all the process yet for the Solidarity Corps, but so far I'm suffering it more. With the K2, maybe you have like certain times when you submit the application, when you have to develop what you have to do and all that, that you have to work more, but in an administration way, I think it's going to be more load of work with the voluntary corps, because at the end of the day, you are going to have the volunteers here for all this period, and you have to organize housing, you have to organize all the invoices to pay the things, you have to take care of them. So I expect that it's going to be more workload in an administrative way, this program.
Okay, and you feel this is complementary to the KA2 you are running already? The vision is going in the same directions, hosting EVS?
Yes, same dynamic as Carlos, as we said. We expect the volunteers to be part of the team of FabLab Cuenca, not only to contribute, also to learn. So we will involve them in the K2 projects that we will be developing this year. So the idea is for them to be able to work in the team developing that programs too.
Excellent. This is the transition made with Lucia. It seems that the first two speakers has highlighted the way that they are contributing to building and creating the next generation of fab managers by learning on their side, which is now the time for Lucia to reply to a couple of questions. What made you choose that specific European Solidarity Corps over the hundreds open call we can find on the EU platforms? Why did you choose like a Fab Lab?
Yeah. So it all started with the idea of experiencing a Fab Lab, because during my studies in product design, I discovered the concept of Fab Lab, Makerspace, the values, and I really fell in love with it. And I didn't feel like I could start professionally in it because I didn't have any experience in it. So it would be interesting to find a volunteering program or something to start for the first step. And I wanted to do it abroad because, yeah, it was more exciting. And then I discovered the Erasmus Plus platform and the ESC program. And actually, the Fab Lab Belfast was the only one that was offering opportunity at that time when I researched. But it was actually amazing because I was already so curious about the Celtic culture. So I was really excited about going there. And the description, it sounded amazing. I could help people, facilitate workshops, but also develop my own project according to what I wanted to learn. So I wanted to do that. And the last part that was really interesting and made me want to go was that there were different ESC volunteers in Belfast, and we were all gathered in, like, hosted in houses in the same area, the same neighborhood. And it was my first experience abroad, like living abroad. And I thought it was really reassuring to be surrounded by other volunteers who would have the same experience as me. So I was like, let's go. And I don't regret it.
Cool. Excellent. Second question for you. What did your day-to-day actually look like in Belfast, and how much did it match what you expected before to go there, basically?
I didn't have much expectation. I just wanted to go abroad, to have an experience abroad and learn a lot in the Fab Lab and in the city. And everything I lived there was just amazing. I would say, I still say today is the best year of my life so far. And a day-to-day experience would be, I would arrive at the Fab Lab, we would have some coffee, tea, and cake, usually in the morning. Each morning, someone would bring something to snack. Then I wouldn't know what's gonna happen because I was there to help the users, so I never know what would be the next project, and that's what I think was really exciting for me. So I just loved it. I would just be surprised by what people come up with, and I would do my best to help them. But if there was no one, I could also work on my own project or I would be given some task from the Fab Lab because they were asked to develop some project for the city or for different organizations. So I would also be part of it. And in the afternoon, when I would be done with the Fab Lab, I would just go back home or hang out in the city and hang out with the other volunteers and all the locals that I would meet. Yeah.
Super. Thank you. There's one, still two questions for you. Was there something the host Fab Lab could have done better to support you, especially maybe at the start, or everything was kind of clear?
Things were quite clear, but yeah, there were some days where there was no users and I could just develop my own project. And I wish people had more time to help me develop some skills. I really wanted to learn about electronic and I didn't have any knowledge about it. And that was one of my goals during the year, to learn about electronics. And actually, people were quite busy in the Fab Lab, and it was not a Fab Lab where there was a lot of users coming and doing their own projects. We would be there to help them. So there was no one to help me develop these skills. I was on my own on this. But I mean, they were busy with the different projects, so I cannot really blame it. But that's something I wish I could have more. But outside of the Fab Lab, I had support from the other volunteers and the group that gathered all these volunteers. So this was great. Yes.
Top. Last question for you, and then we can go for the Q&A. So please prepare your questions. Looking backward, what did that experience give you that you couldn't have gotten any other way?
Mm-hmm. I would say the specific connections that I made there. Everyone, like all the team in the Fab Lab, they had amazing knowledge and amazing things to teach, and I learned a lot from them from the time they gave it to me. But also all the other volunteers from the other organizations. And I would say that the ESC, it gave me the opportunity to work in an environment that I was always dreaming about. And it gave me also the experience and confidence to step into the Fab Lab environment in a professional way. But also on top of that, it gave me the resources and the time to experience 1 year abroad without really worrying, because they gave me the financial support. I had people around me, and yes, so that made it great.
Super. Thank you very much. Excellent. So it's time for the Q&A before the last slide with the different key points if you want to go further. So yeah, it's an open mic. If you have any questions, feel free to jump. Alors Mathieu, please, and then Alexandre.
I'm not sure I understood well the difference between lead and sending, or saying another way, I didn't see any sending organization that wasn't a leading organization. So imagine we are sending on the host. Is there any reason not being a lead organization. And I don't see, for example, can a lead organization be sending somebody from notice place to another place? And how does it articulate exactly? It's not clear for me.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Is there any one of the three speakers that would like to jump on these questions? Otherwise, I can go. Okay, I go. So first, you can be either sending, which is the VULCA, for instance, which is only sending. You can be host. You can apply for a host label, which is, for instance, Mountain Makers only. Or you can be lead plus host, or lead plus sending, or lead plus send and hosting, the three of them, which is, for instance, Bueno in Portugal, just for instance, okay? Then, for instance, Carlos will find in France someone from Bordeaux, where Alexandre Licata is located, for instance. But unfortunately, Alexandre Licata doesn't have the label to send someone. So it's possible to ask to VULCA, which is located in France, to follow up the youth, to prepare the youth to go to Carlos' place, and to become basically the sending organization. Even if officially VULCA is not the organization where the youth is a member, but this is our role, to get close to each other, to know each other, to explain the reality of Carlos' place to the youth. So every time Carlos connects with a French youth, he will connect this French with VULCA, and VULCA will have a dedicated call to say, okay, you want to go, what are your expectations? What do you look for? We've been to Carlos' place, so we know what the reality is. And if we really feel it fits, then the youth can basically go, and we will follow this youth for the period. But if someone comes from Spain, I would say, I guess, Carlos will probably contact Rural Madrid Makerspace or Fab Lab Cuenca, even if the youth is from Barcelona or Gijón or Sevilla. Is that help you to understand, Mathieu?
If you want, I can complement.
Yeah, sure.
Because the idea is to give flexibility. So imagine, you don't want to lead with bureaucracy, you don't want to deal with any of those things, the responsibilities. You just want to receive people. So basically, you apply as just a hosting organization. Imagine you are a youth organization. You support young people in a city like Lyon. You have a lot of young people that want to go abroad. Then it makes sense that you don't want to be a hosting organization, but you want to support those persons. So you are a sending organization, a support organization. And you might also, again, don't want to deal with the bureaucracy. You just want to facilitate. Imagine that you are a small organization, and for you, it's actually important to also manage these opportunities, even for portfolio. I'm not just talking about money, even portfolio, even in terms of like being inside European projects. So in that case, either host or sending, it makes sense that you also try to be as a lead organization, because you have more flexibility, because then you can choose what to do with the money. You can make a preparatory visit. You want to network. So the program is designed to be as flexible as possible to match the necessities and the reality of the organization. I hope that this is more clear now.
Maybe just for you, Mathieu, in Moulins or in the Pige, you have the Point Information Jeunesse, and they are only sending. They gather so many youth that come to the place, and they don't really know where to go, what to do in their life. And since they have this accreditation and they know where to look on this EU platform, they just send youth in different missions. Mathieu, is it the same? Yeah, okay. Alex, after that, we still have some time.
And just I think we applied for a hosting organization because we don't want to. Yeah. And is it another application to become lead if we see that finally we feel safe to go further, or can we just make evolve our accreditation from host to lead, or do we have to apply completely a new one? Is it easy to change the status, to make short?
Carlos, I guess.
Oh, that's a very good question, because that's the gray zone. And so quality label is basically a long-term strategy plan. You say, I would like to receive people for the next 5 years, for example. And when you apply, and if you are applying for leads, you are supposed to reply, what are the capabilities you have to offer? You know, imagine I have a permanent staff. I can give some solidity to the management of the project, you know, and so you are being evaluated for those things. You apply with more ambitions. Okay, but the evaluator is going to look at what you are and to the questions that will change according to what you are applying to, if it's sending or lead or everything, okay? And based on that, they are going to give you a quality label that states what are you able to do. And every year you assess for money, and you are supposed to be aligned with a strategic mapping. If you, in the middle of accreditation of 7 years, you want to change, you want to evolve, I'm not totally sure, because I was never in that position, how it is the process. Because it's not so simple as you just changing the idea. I would say talking with the national agency. I don't know, Alex, if you know more about this specific situation, but I would imagine it would be possible, but it would be also talking about with the national agency to see how would be the process.
Yeah. Same feeling on my side. What I know, it's you as a host, like Mountain Makers, for instance, you don't have access to the fundings, Mathieu. You will need to find a third party, which is a lead in France, which will basically do the paperwork for you. So it's a good job for you, because you don't have much paperwork to do. It's someone else that's gonna do it. Then it's a more wider vision all of us must have in the future. I'm questioning if the French Fab Labs network or Verbund Werkstätten or even VULCA should become, for Europe or for Germany or for France, the lead organization. And then you can talk to us and we apply for fundings basically for you on an every year basis. This is under discussions with some other labs, obviously, but it has also to be discussed, I would say, around General Assembly or things like this. But for you, in your case, if this is approved in the following weeks, Mathieu, you will need to find an organization in France, which is a lead, and most probably the national agency will orient you in your regions to identify an organizations in your regions. Alexandre Liqueta, you had a question 5 minutes ago.
Yes, thank you. The last information was super. Yeah, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, thanks for the last information. It was super interesting. I have a question to precise how the money flows, basically, because so management, time, accommodation, you know, for the sleeping place, food, extra. It costs money. So who actually pays for it? Kind of who manage the money then?
Carlos, I guess you know.
Yeah, man. So I was trying to add something to this last situation of Mathieu that actually relates with what you said. That is the money. If, for example, you are not the lead and you are just the receiving institution, you have to be careful. You should read the what is in the program, because there are, unfortunately, a lot of organizations that take advantage of the lack of information from the hosting organizations. And I know this a lot because I've been talking with a lot of organizations, and unfortunately this happens. So the process is simple. The national agency has with the lead an accreditation. The lead can be sending, can be receiving, or like us, we have both possibilities. So the contract is only made with the lead, okay? The national agency pays a certain amount of money every year, okay? It can be 80% in the beginning, 20% at the end. It can be fractioned in more parts if the organization is small and it's a huge amount of money. But otherwise, it's between the national agency and the lead organization, period, okay? There is not intervention from the other organizations. This means that afterwards, the lead organization, if wants to send someone, for example, your Fab Lab, you are the hosting organization, he will talk with you about the conditions, basically. He's going to talk with you about the conditions. And if that lead organization is playing by the book, and this is very important, okay? If they are playing by the book, they will give you what are the rules that are established for the European Solidarity Corps, and they are established. So it means according to the country, according to, I don't know which situation, you have unit costs. How much money are going for reimbursed or travel grants? How much is the pocket money? How much money is for the hosting organization? Not for the lead, for the hosting organization. And I'm saying this still regarding the intervention of Mathieu, be careful with that, because some organizations, leads that are ascending, sometimes take advantage of the fact that the hosting organizations don't really know a lot about these topics, okay? So in terms of money flows, Alex, very simple, lead and national agency, period, okay? If you are not the lead, you should at least understand what are the conditions in the program, what you are entitled to, period also, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I didn't want to go too deep into the detail of the fundings. The most important for you to know is that it's funded. I'm just sharing my screen in the next cloud of the French Fab Lab network. This is the easiest way for me to get the guide. But you have the Erasmus Plus guide on European Solidarity Corps. I'm sorry. And then depending each country, you have a by day summary basically that you can get. So you can basically download this guide, and then on page 48 and some others after, you will get all of this information when it comes to travel costs, accommodations, money pocket, food, and so on and so on. So
Alex,
yeah,
do you think it's useful if I share the screen and show what is actually the management platform looks like? In terms of...
Yeah, sure. Go for it. I will give you access to the chat.
While I prepare, because I have to prepare authentication,
Yeah.
there are other questions, and then I will prepare, and then when it makes sense, I can share my screen.
Yeah, take a look on this. Alex, you have another question? While he does it.
Yes. Practically, I'm interested to be a host in a few months. How much time do I have to dedicate to the application to be a host? You said it was quite light to write it compared to a KA2 or A1. Alex, you said to me that we have still 100 days to apply, kind of.
Yeah. Exactly. So Delia,
how much effort?
Delia, myself, or even Matthew, we passed throughout this process of this application. I would say it was much easier than a KA2 that you already passed before. Okay, so if you already applied for KA220, which you did a couple of times, Alex, honestly, this is super easy for you. Then I would consider as Cap Science a place where a lot of youth comes, where you are part on some youth inclusions KA2. This is a very interesting visions to bring in your future KA2, because throughout your KA2, you reach out youth that come to learn on your side with your partners from different countries. But when the project stops after a certain year, you will lost kind of this youth. But throughout the project, you can identify some of them that could jump in the European Voluntary Services, the European Solidarity Corps. So throughout your couple of years doing refab projects, and the refab project will finish this year, it means that maybe some of the youth could go at Delia Fab Lab next year and Carlos Fab Lab next year as well. You know what I mean? It's a long-term planning also for your users. Okay?
This is a very interesting way to look at it, because if we are going to apply for, we plan to start this year and have this more refined in the following years. If I can very shortly tell you our experience, because Carlos' experience is bigger, and I'm really curious to see the table he wants to use as well. But basically, we apply as a lead. You have to prepare. When you ask for the quality level, I guess only to be a host, it will be maybe less work, because you will have to explain things about your organization, the projects you want to carry on with the volunteers, and all this stuff that you normally cite when you plan to have people or to develop a project within them. Then you have to kind of organize for the following years, how many people, what projects, and all these things. When we apply, one thing is to apply for the quality level to be lead, host, or sending, and another thing then is when they open the open call to send your projects, and that's super easy. Once you have the quality level, to be honest, I don't. That looks super bad, but I kind of did it like I could apply for it this year, and I did a few writings and sent, and then we got the grant. It was like all the work is at the beginning. Then to get the volunteer grant is not that much. And now I'm with the messy thing to go through the guide. There is this guidebook that Alex said that has all the questions that you can have there to know how much money I have to pay for the pocket money, for all these things. Then you have to do this step after. So it's like that was the experience for us.
Yeah. And you know what is KA1 and you know what is KA2, guys. This is pretty clear for you in your mind. But now you need to know what is ESC 51 and 50. The European Solidarity Corps 51 and 50. And it's two different things between hosts and sendings or leads. So you're going to apply to a different project title, I would say. Okay, project accreditation. Carlos, you want to go?
So basically, I totally agree. And let me just learn how to share.
So you have three buttons on the bottom. Yeah, and one of them.
It's there, right? Yeah, share your screen. Okay, select the screen.
All the screen.
It should be this one. Yeah, I think this one. This is the one. Yep. You guys are seeing, right?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so this is the back office. This is the beneficiary model, and this is something that when you have a project approved, it's the official software platform to manage the project. So I open one of the European Solidarity Corps. So in this case is the one from 2025 until something. By the way, you can, if needed, extend the period that is attributed to you. Okay. And so this one actually was supposed to end at the 31st of August, but we asked for an extension because sometimes life happens, right? And you are not able to receive the people, use all the money. And it's very important that if they attribute you an amount of money, you use all the money that you have available. Okay. Why? Because if not, the next year they are going to cut part of the funding to you. If you didn't use all the money, it means that you don't need it. So it means that even if you ask 100, they will give you 70. Okay. So that's a rule, very simple, that you should remember. So in this case, we received 30,000. We already have predicted to use 28,000. And this is useful. Why? Because this is going to give you all the calculations. So you can even put this almost kind of a dummy. You know, you can create like, I don't know, Jose something, and you just simulate how much it's going to be in terms of using the money. So this is kind of like an overview. Participating organizations. This is Buinho, that is the lead beneficiary, as you can see here. And then we have other organizations. What are these other organizations? They are the sending organizations, okay? The sending organizations also go to the platform, but it's very simple, straightforward. You put their OID and it's going to appear here. Then in terms of activities, this kind of activity that you see here, I cannot simply edit because this has to do with the quality label. In the quality label, you applied, you specify what you wanted, and so it's kind of already here, okay? We never use this, but if you want, you can use the money also to travel, imagine, to Manzat and talk with an organization there that is going to host your volunteers, or vice versa, that is going to send you volunteers. And this is the important thing. So you see, this is the participants, and was very weird in the beginning, because the participants, they apply in another platform that is not this one. They apply in what is called a youth portal. And it's kind of back and forth, because you make an offer, they apply, but then you have to offer them again, and then they accept. And only after this, you can hit this button here on this other platform and retrieve participants from the European Youth Portal. This is what it means, okay? And then that platform is kind of an intermediary platform to then push the information here. And as you can see, I have 3 volunteers right now with us, okay? Beste, Jose, and Alvaro, to which I added activities, what is called participations. And this is the important part, okay? The other part is likely retrieving information from other parts. It's putting an OID to nominate what is your partner. But when you have the participant and you say a participation, this is going to open. And here, it's what you have. You put the information of the participant, and you start putting information that will calculate how much money you are entitled to. So in this case, this volunteer comes from a place that is 706 kilometers. So automatically, this is selected. And it means that if that person came by bus, automatically this value appears here. You don't put real costs. You don't put real costs. You just put the information, and it automatically starts calculating.
Yeah. And
you say what is going to be the period, and it starts calculating everything. So organizational support. I say that this person is going to start in March, it's going to be until January. It's going to be 324 days. Automatically, it calculates what is the grant that goes for supporting that volunteer. If you have inclusion support that we usually don't ask, but you could, it will also add up to that money available. And at the end, this is everything automatically calculated. So then when I go to budget, I have here everything sum up. So it's important that you are informed. And now also talking to Delia, it's important that you know what are the rules, but the platform itself is going to help you with this. It's going to, when you add the information, it's going to automatically start calculating. And a lot of organizations, this is an advice, what they do is, when they know how much money they are going to receive, before even selecting the participants, they do simulations. They create a dummy participant just to see how much money they are going to spend. Because one of the things that are going to be important is that you spend all the money that they provide to you. You can spend more than the money. They are not going to give you more, okay? But less, it's going to be bad for you.
Super. Thank you very much. It's already 3 p.m. I think we are done. If there is any questions, I guess you have my contact either on the VULCA side or the French Forum side. Feel free to contact me. I shared with you in the chat on the left the different deadlines and also a couple of important links that I basically put in this presentation, and I'm gonna forward you. So you still have time to apply for such a programs if you want after summers. And I share with you 2 different links, the one from the WebGate and the one from the guide, which I basically encourage you to take a look, obviously. That's all. This webinar was co-organized with the French Parallel Network and VULCA, two different networks that are teaming up in Europe. I hope it helped you to better understand how this program works. From now, I will shut down the record of this webinar. And yeah, that's all.